I'm over here. Let me stay fast, stay fast, stay fast, stay fast. Okay, so the poet with the highest score and the hip-hop artist with the highest score tonight will move on to the finals. So Miss Fit still has a chance to move on to the finals if she can hold on to that highest score. So right now, we're going to go with round 2. If you are in our virtual world, everybody put up your 2s and say round 2. We also have another set of amazing women from Team Poetry and Nashville, Tennessee. We have Debria Love, and she says she is the next Oprah Winfrey. And battling against her on Team Hip Hop, she has been in a couple different Poetry versus Hip Hop and a Tupac show, is Tam the Vibe. Let's watch their intro videos.
What would Queen Sheba say to young Beth Sheba if she was to give her advice today? What would you say to your younger self?
You know, the first thing that came to mind was go with your gut. Go with your gut, go with your instinct. The answer is always yes, and you're always right. Your feelings are valid. And somebody just told me the other day, like 2 days ago, it was like one of those light bulbs again, like, because you never stop receiving jewels, right? So somebody told me the other day, have your own shit, so can't nobody tell you shit. And I was like, interesting, because I've always been a we person. I've always been, let's do this, and even with my partners, let's go to the park, and let's buy a car together, and let's buy a house together, and let's buy stocks, and let's have your own shit, so can't nobody tell you shit. And I think when I've suffered from low self-esteem and insecurities is when I didn't have my own piece of freedom, and when I didn't have my own, when I couldn't rely on myself for whatever. And I don't necessarily, I've always been able to pay my own bills. It's nothing like, I've always been a hustler. I like money, so I'm, always drumming up ways to, even during COVID, I'm filling out grants every day, like, so I think when I suffered from low self-esteem, even now, or when I'm having self-doubt, it's because whatever it is, I didn't have for myself. And I was just telling a friend today on the porch, me and my partner share a car, and it's mostly her car. We did buy it together technically a few years ago, but as our lives have evolved, she uses it 90% of the time. And sometimes I'm quote unquote stuck in the house. Not really, because there's Uber, I have a car, we live downtown. I really could ride my bike and walk almost all places, right? But sometimes I want to meet up with y'all to go have a drink. And then I look at Uber, and the Uber is $25 one way. And I'm like, yeesh, that's a tank of gas for a week, because I live 2 miles from Center City. You know what I mean? So, and it's those moments where I'm like, get your own shit, Sheba. I remember one time when I was dating my ex-boyfriend, Brian, I was using his CVS card. And this was years ago, had to be at least 10, 12 years ago. And I was in Maryland, and it was an elderly woman I say elderly, she might've been 60 at the time. 10 to 15 years ago, I was in my late 20s. So she was like, girl, let me get you your own CVS card and get you some independence. And I was like, damn, I can't use my boyfriend's CVS card. But it's just, those small things that you leave your own footprint. And I, to be honest, I never understood it. And I'm just getting there, because my parents did everything together, and they were happy. They didn't argue. So that's the example I have. And I'm adopted, but my adopted parents did not argue. And I'm not saying they didn't disagree. They disagreed, but they didn't argue. They went at each other's throats. They weren't cussing each other out. That's not the environment that I am used to. And they were a we situation. We went on vacation. We went to my father's softball games. We went to my mother's, whatever. It was. So I wanted a we. And I also, I don't want to say suffer, but I also deal with abandonment issues, because I did have to leave home when I was 15. I have been adopted. I was in 3 foster homes before that. And I never wanted to claim that. I always felt like, nah, I'm good. But actually it affected me as I got older, because now that I want to, and other people want to have long-term friendships and long-term romantic relationships with me, I still got fight or flight in me. Like, oh, this doesn't work, I'm leaving. You know what I mean? And that's not necessarily a healthy friendship or romantic relationship. And I recently got a counselor this year, therapist, whatever you want to call it, and it's going pretty good. And I think I recognized those things, but I didn't want to acknowledge that they was really affecting me. And so I'm just learning what it's like to be in a real relationship. Like, you don't give up just because today isn't going well, or you don't have the euphoria of today, of the, the butterflies of today. No, you handle things and you handle bills. And when me and my current partner first got together, the first couple times we broke up, I took my share of, I didn't take hers, but my share of the money out of our bill account. I was like, I'm out of here, and she was like, what the fuck are you doing? And, it caused distrust. And even though I didn't take her money, but it was just like, she was like, that's what you do, and so I'm learning. And I hate that I'm learning late in my 40s, but I'm glad that I'm learning it all. So I would tell my younger self to have your own shit and be your own person, and then come to the table. And you're never going to be complete. Like, don't, oh, I'm going to be complete. Like, I hate that. I hate when, especially when I was dating guys were like, well, I'm not ready to get married until I check all these things off. Be your own person, but you're never going to be complete. You're always evolving and changing, and the world is always evolving and changing. And that's cool. You know what I mean? Just know that you're a whole person, and come to the table as a whole person, and have your own CVS club card. So, yeah. So I would tell young Sheba to, you're always right. Your intuition is right. Your feelings are valid. Be your own person. Have confidence in what you think and what you feel. And if something doesn't feel right, then talk about it first. And if people still mistreat you after talking about it, then leave. Give people opportunity to resolve situations before you just bounce.
26.2, 25.6, and 25.6. We're going to see which team has the most points right now. But you can always drop us a Cash App at Poetry versus Hip Hop. Use that $, put in $500. You just got your stimulus check. You sitting on that unemployment. You ain't doing shit. You ain't got nowhere to go. You still on quarantine. You ain't got no clothes to buy. I just told you I've had this dress for 6 years. So if you want to be a sponsor, if you want to sponsor Poetry versus Hip Hop, please hit us up at our website and fill out the comment section. Or you can hit us in our DM at Poetry versus Hip Hop on IG. So, is he taking a selfie with his mask on? So please give it up to our judges, Milena Joy, triathlete, comedian, and 2 business owner. Please put your hands together for comedian. I don't know why I keep calling you comedian. I don't know either, Milena. Just because you're funny when we're talking, so maybe that's what it is. And to lifetime comedian Rodney Perry, free-ish, I love it. And to comedian, poet, spoken word artist, and oracle of spoken word, Miss Georgia Me. So right now, Team Poetry is in the lead with 79.8, and Team Hip Hop has 77.4. And I believe Team Poetry won last week, but we still have 2 weeks to go. So tune in next week. Don't forget to tune in to Status Network. Buy your 99-cent ticket and give away a whole bunch of 99-cent tickets to all of your friends. Have a watch party 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the next two Thursdays. This is DJ Know That on the wheels. My name is Queen Sheba. I've been your host, and we've had our fangirl scorekeepers over here, Rihanna and Raina. I knew it. I got it. I got it before you said it. Rihanna and Raina are fangirl scorekeepers on the side. Thank you to Jack, our producer on Status Network, and thank you to our production assistant, and this week, my makeup artist, Charisma. Peace out. My name is Queen Sheba. Have a great night. Power to the people.
Poetry versus hip hop. But what about poetry and spoken word? Is there are they the same, poetry and spoken word, or?
I've developed an elevator pitch for people who ask me that. It's always a question people come up with. And I know that spoken word artists who have crossed over into education, into the literary world, such as myself, Patricia Smith, and a bunch of others, have been fighting, for poetry to be taken seriously in the literary world. And Madison, Wisconsin, the University of Madison, you can get a spoken word degree. You can get a spoken word degree in Berkeley. I'm trying to think of other places where it's spoken word specifically, not just poetry. So my master's is in poetry. It's not in spoken word. And to me, and this is what I've always lived on, is poetry is to be written first, read aloud second, if ever. It could be never never read aloud. Spoken word is written to be read aloud first, read second, if ever, or performed aloud first and read second, if ever. Like you could write a poem in your head, perform it, and it may never be written anywhere. So spoken word to me is definitely written for the purpose of being out loud, where poetry is written for the page first. That is not to say that they can't merge. So you could write a spoken word piece for the page that that goes well in a book, or not. Or I do have spoken word pieces in my book, and I do have poems in my book. And to me, the voice is obvious, you know what I mean, because of the line length. But that's something you learn in education, or, from somebody who studies or whatever. It's not just something you pick up at the open mic. So line breaks, the length of lines, how much, how often, space, what that means, formatting, all those. And that's what I teach my students at Clark. There is a difference between formatting a poem and your spoken word free verse that you're writing in, just black, on the page. So I do believe that there's a difference, and I enjoy them both.
You gave the reason, you're the first poet outside of school that have given me that answer. One of my literary teachers in college, and so she was like, there's a difference between poetry and spoken word. And she basically said just what you said. And you're the first person outside of her that I've heard, say that. So yeah, I was just wondering, that's all.
And then some things, just like there's a million forms of poetry, like there's a million forms of poetry. You could never teach them all. There's also, the period poem is not a poem. It's just a rant. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't even call that a poem. Or, it's spoken word because I'm saying it out loud and I perform it out loud, but it's just a rant. It's just a rant of my feelings. There's no format. I literally wrote that down from beginning to end, however it came to me. I never went back to edit it. I never went back to format it. It's just black on a page. So there are those too. And people, and I have some hip hop rants and some, political rants, and some are poems that are specific and drive people a certain way. And then some things are just rants. And to me, rants are things that touch on a whole bunch of subjects. You know what I mean? If you listen to new spoken word artists, if they talk about war or abuse, they talk about all the wars and all the abuse and and they're trying to fit everything into one poem because maybe they don't know they're going to write more about this. They think, oh, let me just get this out and I'll feel better. They don't realize that you could talk about the specific day that you realized your uncle or father or cousin or aunt or was abusing you in verbally, emotionally, physically. There's more than one type of abuse. You can write a whole series on abuse or wars. You can write about past wars, the present war. You can write the war on crime. So I think that as spoken word artists, when we get excited, we try to cram everything into one performance piece instead of narrowing our scope. And that's also something that I teach my students, is to narrow your scope, because I want to hear the story and the details in your scope. And if you want to write about the same cousin all semester long in different scopes, that's absolutely fine. So I think I love the details.
Okay. I asked, oh Lord, I just lost what I was getting ready to say.
I was just going to ask, based upon your experiences, based upon, you know, places that you've been, people that you have heard from, people that you've even studied, is there anyone that just sticks out that really influences you?
So interestingly enough, I read a lot of autobiographies and I'm inspired by them. I read poetry books when they're given, when they're suggested, and when assigned. So Elaine Brown, A Taste of Power, is her autobiography that really sticks out to me. She does have poetry in that book. My homegirl, Liz Straight, who lives in West Palm Beach now, who's from Tampa, Talam Acey and Lamar Hill, who are from New Jersey. I think Lamar still lives in Jersey and frequents Philly a lot, and Lamar and Talam definitely lives in LA now. They were influential voices for me coming up. Mo Brown, who lives out of New York, she's a great, powerful woman's voice for me. Shaggy Flores, who is a Puerto Rican, Nuyorican poet out of the Nuyoricans Cafe in New York, who's living now in the DMV area. Amir Suleiman, who lives here in Atlanta,
Oh,
who
yeah.
I just, oh my God, who I just get chills. And on top of that, Malik Salam, who I just get chills listening to. So there's so many amazing, great spoken word artists who just have amazing bodies of work. But what I've also found, and I said this about my friend the other day, and somebody said I should apologize, but I don't think so. But a friend of mine asked me about a poet. I won't say his name on here, and they were like, oh, so-and-so was a great poet. And I was like, not in my opinion, out of a 10, he's like an 8.7, which is good. Like it's still above average, you know? And I was like, yeah, it's cool. But this particular poet is almost the kind of the same that I feel about India.Arie or some other artists that are like, I like a lot of their work, and it could be the majority of their work, but I wouldn't say that this particular poet was so amazing. Like I'm not moved to action when, to me, this is just me, when I hear an amazing poet's like body of work, when you can carry an hour, when I feel the emotion of laughter, anger, sadness, and all of those things, then I'm like, that is amazing. That is magic. That's a storyteller. That is narrowing the scope and picking out the parts and being vulnerable. And that's another thing about poetry versus hip hop I wanted to say, is that if the hip hop artists would be more vulnerable, they would win more often. Now, some hip hop artists do win their round, but it's very seldom that the team of hip hop artists wins the entire bout or the entire show, because they're too busy covering up. And so that's when I listen to Amir, Talam, Mo Brown, to Mariposa, to Liz Straight, to Masterpiece talk about being deaf, and so many other poets I can name, that just, when it moves me to emotion, is when I'm like, that right there, that's amazing work.
I remembered my question, but it's funny, you didn't know I was going to ask this question, but you mentioned somebody I was going to mention, Malik Salam. Malik Salam, he's also a filmmaker now.
Yes.
Cola Rum, he has a book.
Yes, I have his book. I've been reading it.
What's next for you?
Well, I'm also a DJ. So I've been DJing. Hey, turn up. So I've been DJing for about a little over 2 years, and I don't DJ clubs Not because I haven't been asked to. I just don't want to, because I'm old enough to turn shit down. Then I like to DJ events, and I like to DJ things that are under the art umbrella, like whatever it could be. It could still be maybe a club setting like afterwards or something, but to DJ like a whole straight club, that's not what I got into DJing for, which a lot of DJs get into DJing for because they want to play the music they want to play. And then of course the clubs call and they like, fuck it, let me get this $300, this $500 or whatever. But I have a great career in poetry, and there's so many awesome DJs out there. If I happen to go that way, then that's cool. But right now I'm DJing pride events and art events and curated events and things like that. And I still play top 40 music, but I just feel better about the second coming in life. And it's not necessarily, I don't have the experience I do as a poet just yet, but I'm above average. I'm pretty good. I'm enough for your party. People won't get bored. I DJ'd on for a Bravo event, the TV network. So I DJ'd some corporate stuff too. And that's what I like. I really like playing, mixing trap music with rock and roll and soul music. So world music. I love Fela. I love bounce. I've really gotten into bounce and reggae. So that's kind of it too. But right now, immediately, I'm coming out with a new book. It's called Clemency, Learning to Accept the Apologies You'll Never Receive. And then I'm coming out with a new album. I know people don't come out with albums that much anymore, but of course it'll just be released digitally, called The Fuck It Pill, where I'm gonna sing and do poetry.
I love it.
Instead of like the bucket list, like when you're 40, it's like, I'm not old enough yet to be making a bucket list, but I'm like the fuck it pill, because I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want.
Wow.
Right. I hate this for a second, but we're in the South. You are familiar with HBCU culture, and you know about the whole student leadership retreats and the icebreakers and get to know each other, and again about cooking. So this question often comes up like on student leadership retreats sometimes, and it goes back into just being in the kitchen. And I know you can picture just that spoken word, just flavor on that. But the question is, if you had the chance to be a fork, spoon, or knife, which one would you be and why?
Oh, shit. Oh my God. I never went to an HBCU. Like, I did not know anything about this. Let's see. Fork, spoon. I would be a spoon. I would be a spoon because the spoon can have a sharp enough edge to cut. If I need to cut something, it can also lift without spilling through, like a fork. And yeah, you can eat anything with a spoon. You can't eat anything with a fork. So yeah, fork. Yeah, ice cream at some point. No, cereal, not a good thing. No. So I would be a spoon because I'm sharp sometimes, but I'm well-rounded and I'm versatile. So I can be wherever I need to be.
I love it. I love it. And most times people try to go the easy way out and try to be the knife because they want to seem hard and say, well, I can cut through anything. I'm persevering. No, like that, if you get that spoon.
I mean, you can eat with a knife, and depending on the knife, because you didn't say what kind of knife. I mean, you don't want to cut your tongue out or cut your side of your cheek. Yeah, like, you didn't specify the knife, but a spoon is the spoon. Unless, you got a barbed wire spoon, but, I don't think that's enough.
I like that term you use, universal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
yeah, especially, when they give you those sporks. That's why they give you a spork, because it's like you can kind of be like, okay, let me cut this and then dip. Yeah, definitely. I'm a spork.
well, Ms. Queen Sheba, can you give us all of your the social media, your contacts that you would like for our audience to have, for people to reach out to you again?
Absolutely. Please follow us on Poetry vs. versus Hip Hop on IG. Please watch our show this Thursday and our finals next Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on statusnetwork.net, or like I showed you, you can go to our website, poetryversushiphop.com or .live. It goes to the same place, and click on events, and then click on that event link, and then it'll go right to that $2.99. Go ahead and be that super supporter. Drop that dub on there, you know. And then you can find me all, and I repeat, all of my social media is The Queen Sheba. You can find me on every single social media platform. I don't have TikTok though. I don't. And I don't have Snapchat because I have Insta Story and I feel like it's the same thing. So, but everything, Instagram is my favorite. I'm always posting on there, and you can always DM me if you would like a book. Please text me 404-697-9734, 404-697-9734. That is also how you can send me a Cash App. You can just use my phone number, so it goes straight to me. 15 plus, I'll just say that if you want to be generous, 15 plus. And then I'll say at least $15 per book. So if you want 2 books, it's got to be at least $30. But you can, send me whatever amount, and I'll send you some books in the mail, maybe with a couple little extra things because they're in the house, make you a little package. And hit me up anytime. I would love to come DJ for you wherever you are watching this in the world. I have a passport. And as long as your country or your city is lifted, then I'm more than happy to be there. Because otherwise, I'd have to come and then sit in your house for 14 days before the event. So, I mean, unless you want me around that long, But please do hit me up anytime in my DM. Text me. I never answer the phone, so you can call if you want to. I'm not answering, but you can always text me and say hello, wish me a good day, and order your books. Get these last 25 books out of my house.
Thank you for 2020. So that means for Team Poetry, and let me tell you, Blues, up until Red Storm, you were going to the finals because you had you were squeaking by with 0.8, a little bit above Lady Sarcasm, but Red Storm is going to the finals with a 26.8, and he will be joining for Team Poetry Teresa the Songbird and Michael motherfucking Harriet. So that's Chicago, Birmingham. And for Team Hip Hop, Team Hip Hop won this week, and we already know that Paris Rose is going on to the finals with a 29.5, and she will be joining Eugene Wright from Birmingham and Tam the Vibe with 2 eyes, because she can see, from Columbia, South Carolina. Please give it up for our judges one more time. Little John Roberts, drummer extraordinaire and producer, actually, and Ebony, who is a swim, bike, run, cyclist, marathoner, and Miss Dia from WRFG 89.3. Please also give it up for DJ Know That, co-founder of Poetry versus Hip Hop. And please, I would be remiss if we did not give it up for Status Network and for Jack, our amazing producer, who's back there working out things, both actually DJ Know That and Jack. And of course, we have our amazing production assistant, has been with us for the last 2 weeks, who also did my makeup last week and made me this t-shirt this week. Please give it up for Charisma, who you cannot see at all. Yes. But next week, we're going to throw her logo up there. She's actually, you all actually have Poetry versus Hip Hop masks in your bag as well. She actually made the mask, so she does print work. I don't know if she's stealing materials from her job or she makes them at home, but make sure you hit up Charisma if you need short-term print work. She made this t-shirt, the Poetry versus Hip Hop mask, for all 3 weeks and for next week, and she made the Poetry versus Hip Hop shirts for the first week. And we have Ms. Cruz in our studio audience, and she does an amazing YouTube series. It's called Between the Lines. I had the privilege of being on Between the Lines earlier this week. It will share hopefully before finals next week, and we're happy to have you. So my name is Queen Sheba. Thank you for watching Poetry versus Hip Hop. Virtual goes viral.
Thank you for having me on Between the Lines. I definitely appreciate it, and I definitely appreciate anybody that's going to watch this and who has had me on Zoom interviews, Zoom features. It's great that and this goes to show how your life work is so important, because being in quarantine, shut down, COVID, lock in, Keisha put us on what's it called, on curfew, like we all 12 in Atlanta. She was like, go in the house. Our governor was like, nah, y'all could go outside. They both live in the city. We like looking at our parents like, which do we do? You know, so I really appreciate people remembering me and remembering that I'm here, because it could have been out of sight, out of mind. And I just want to encourage all artists and poets and creatives, you know, just keep doing your thing and keep doing every single interview, Zoom call that comes up, so that when the world opens back up, we'll be back out here and we can share and circulate the love, because that's what's important. Yes. Thank you so much for having me on Between the Lines. This has been great.